Hello, I'm Stan Copeland, and some people call me the Pickling Parson. But today I want to talk to you a little bit about the farm, because Buck and the Parson, we both love farms. I call mine Stillwater Farm, and he calls his Cara Farms. He and Tish have a wonderful place in Edmond, Oklahoma, and I'm coming to you from just outside of my hometown, Chandler, Texas. Now, I've shared in an earlier video that just across the fence, the south fence here, less than a football field away, is the Fitzgerald land, which was part of the homestead, I guess you would say, of my ancestors, the Fitzgeralds. They were instrumental in starting the Methodist Church in our town about the time that the town came to be in 1880. And my grandmother, great-great-grandmother, Alice Sophronia Fitzgerald Cade, was the oldest child of, I believe, there were 10. And anyway, she grew up just across the fence where she was born and reared the first years of her life. Now, of course, back then, property went to the farmers. Everybody did a little farming in our family. And Taylor and Jim Fitzgerald, they're the ones who got the farm that goes from here nearly a mile to the Natchez River. Jim farmed that on the other side of Highway 315, and Uncle Taylor, he farmed the land on this side of 315. My great-great-grandfather, Erasmus Rastus Cade, he wanted his wife Alice to have some property adjoining her home place, and so he bought 60 acres here. He bought it about 100 years ago. Up there on the hill, there are some pear trees that he planted that are still producing today. They're over 100 years old. But I remember as a child growing up that this farm was very special. We called it the farm. At that time, my grandmother, I called her Gran Copeland, she owned the farm because her mother and father were long since gone. And so Dad and I would come out here to the farm. It would usually be Dad and myself. And we would cross what was just a birch creek bed. And I remember we had an old Buick, and we'd have to get kind of a running start if it was a little wet so we wouldn't get stuck. But this is the way that we spent many a Sunday afternoon. Now let me say a little bit more about Sunday afternoon. Now my dad was a pharmacist in our little town. His father before him had been the apothecary in our little hometown. And Dad worked hard. He went to work early in the morning and got home about 6 o'clock, and there was rarely a night that he didn't get called and have to go back down to the store to fill a prescription. So he worked Monday through Saturday, and about the only time we had some really good quality time was on Sunday afternoons. And so we'd often come to the farm, and we'd fish in this little pond. This was the only pond we had at the time. We'd go hunting from time to time. Might chase a squirrel or a rabbit or a dove. And it was special time to me because it was time with my dad. Now, I remember once upon a time, one of our church-going friends said, "You know, my daddy said that you're not supposed to work on Sundays. You're not supposed to hunt and fish on Sundays. What do you say to that?" And I said, "Well, let me tell you something. Sundays, we always go to church. I had a perfect attendance pin that was 13 years of perfect attendance in Sunday school. We never missed church. But Sunday afternoons, that was our family time here on the farm." So I have a lot of wonderful memories. I also remember we had some cows from time to time. Dad fooled around with some cows, never more than probably 5 or 6 at a time. And I remember he would do a yell kind of like this, "Woo!" And those cows would come running, and we'd feed those cows. And sometimes he would tell me to call the cows, and I would make that same little sound, and here they'd come a-running. There's so many memories that I have of this farm that I call Stillwater Farm. And the thing that I'm most excited about are the memories that are to come. My 3 granddaughters represent the 6th generation of our family to call this farm home place. And so when I think of being able to get them out here more often and to walk in these piney woods, to see the animals and play with the pastured pigs and maybe even some chickens and get an egg or two and do a little gardening that they already started practicing with me last year, it really gives me a great sense of peace. So I've told you about Stillwater Farm. Now, Buck, you tell our Buck and the Parson audience about Cara Farms in Edmond, Oklahoma.
Stan, I really appreciate everything you shared about Stillwater Farms. And let me show you around Cara Farms. We'll just start here at the front of the house. We're dependent on water, and right here we're on a well. We're attached to the Central Oklahoma Aquifer, but we still catch as much water as we can. So here the last few days, we've got quite a good snow melt here in the water barrel, and we use that regularly. We can't use the house water on plants because we have a softener, and the softener is, that water is salty. And so you put it on a plant, it'll kill the plant. Over here we have what we're calling our west garden. What we're trying to do here is to get all of the non-native plants off the property and fill it with native plants. Our goal is to have 80% native plants eventually. Currently, we're at about 65%. This is a limber pine tree. It's been here for 2.5 years. It loves that spot, and it's growing well. Here in the west garden, we try to put up natives. So there's big blue stand grasses here. There's some Korean spice right there. Even though it says Korean, it is a native. Help on red bud. Yeah. A black chokeberry. And an oak leaf hydrangea. And part of what we're about is, especially this time of the year, is making sure everybody's well fed. So these bird feeders, peanut feeders, 2 of those, and these seed feeders will fall 4 days ago. And with the cold weather, and they've been made use of pretty well by the birds. And I love to have nice product. Yes. It's one of our new features. I call it the tabernacle. It's a great place to sit in the morning or the evening or any time and reflect and meditate, write. And people like to come out and use it. This is one of the non-natives that I'm okay with. This is an old-fashioned lilac, like my wife's grandmother had in her yard. So it's a memory piece for Tish. And so even though it's not a native, it is an Asian plant. I'm okay with it because they're beautiful. We're all about trees. We inherited this sycamore and those 2 beautiful pecan trees from the previous owners. But we've, in the last 2 years, we've planted 27 trees of our own. And we're really focusing on natives there. And right here we have the shoe-barred oak. Plant a lot of oaks. 3 or 4 different varieties of oaks so far. That tree right there, tone a whole bunch of eastern bluebirds. They're hilarious to watch. They're late to fledge. They're pretty awkward flyers until they become adults. But that hole right there near the top, that's bluebird safety in my favorite. Of course, we got last year's, onions that are gone by, and sawdust from the wood shop, and all the time looking to make compost from just about anything. This is our 12 by 12 greenhouse, and so here in a couple of weeks, I will start seeding tomatoes, peppers, flowers, and herbs here. And even though it's not heated, we have electricity, so we have some ceramic heaters that'll keep that place pretty good. That's a fact about so we have 15 of these raised beds that used to be livestock stock tanks. As this year, have not had my fill of cucumbers yet. So in this aisle here and in that aisle over there, we will have T-posts with cattle panels, and we will train cucumbers up those. So we'll make pickles. We'll make anything you can make from a cucumber and enjoy sliced cucumber in our salads. And even you've got blackberry trellis here, 65 feet long. It needs to be trained a little bit. But some of that is new growth, and we had gallons and gallons of blackberries last year, and that's always good to share with the neighbors and get used to having blackberry compost. And down here is fruit trees. That is an Asian pear that is showing some life. These are peaches, Red Haven peaches. They're delicious, and if I can get to them before the coyotes eat them in the summertime, that's a great thing. What's the new feature? This is our pumpkin patch. We'll have pumpkins, pie pumpkins, but they're a good size, so kids can come out and choose their pumpkin in the fall and carve it or paint it or whatever they do. This is another new feature. The back half of this will be watermelon. And this front half will be a cut flower garden made in a shape like a quilt. So there'll be 4.5-foot blocks with 2-foot aisles. The reason I plant oak trees, I know I'm a man of a certain age, and I will never sit in the shade of those great big beautiful trees. But somebody will. And to me, being part of being a good ancestor is leaving something for others. So I'm planting these trees for my great-great-grandchildren who will be able to climb them when they come along. And that's that. Now, my grandchildren love taking care of these trees. We load up a water barrel, and come down here in dry times and water the trees, and my grandkids just love it. But I think it's important to replace stuff that we've taken. And there are more trees going out here. We're going to add American Beech and several varieties of oak out here. We're not falling. What we call the good memory garden. People's pets who have been special to them all the way back to 1983, before we even dreamed of having this place, are buried here. There are at least 19 different pets buried here in the Good Memory Garden. And we have collected all the names, and we're looking for a way to build something that might be able to display all those names. This bench was built by my son. This is a 10 by 10 beam from a tobacco barn in Kentucky. It is American chestnut, the tree that is just about extinct because of chestnut blight. We would plant chestnuts out here as part of that endeavor, except the blight lives in oak trees all the time, and you never know you have it until you have a chestnut tree go sick. So having a piece of chestnut is a great reminder of those trees that were mostly east of here in the United States. There are 4 of our family's dogs buried here, and one we lost just this last summer. And here's somebody, he'll end up there one day after his days are gone. But it's been quite a life out here, and we always look forward to every season of the year. I'm so glad we have 4 pretty distinct seasons. So it's been great talking to you. I'd like to encourage you to go to YouTube, to the Pick and Parson channel on YouTube, and subscribe, and you'll be able to get all your episodes of Buck and the Parson right there every Wednesday morning at 8.